we do robust community engagement and advocacy on the topic of affordable housing. As a 501c3 nonprofit, we have the privilege of being able to educate our community, including our elected officials and others, on the importance of affordable housing. Next slide. And so, oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you. So I think I think it's been a minute since I've been in front of y'all. So, one of the last big things we did was the accelerated funding. And today I'm thankful to be here to talk about accelerated investment in affordable housing, where we are deploying the accelerated funding. And so really, again, thank you for your support of the Greenville Housing Fund and our many, many partners. We would not have the success we are having without your support, without the support of our partners. And just want to take a moment to, and there are a couple other slides, but the headline here is with some of the successful applications that we've recently had, we will be, once we close on the financing of the next two, we will have 443 affordable homes under construction in Greenville, which I think is a remarkable achievement.
Great job.
And all of those serve 20 to 80% AMI. 20.
Oh, hey.
20.
Yes, here.
And let me also thank somebody you're going to hear from after me, which is Carol Bates of the Housing Authority, because these projects, many of these, would not have been successful without the support of the Greenville Housing Authority. I want to make sure I go out of my way to acknowledge that thank you. It's terrible for her support, although it sounds like it's limited. I'm just so anyway, and of those units, I also want to say there are some, it's an interesting mix of family housing, elderly housing, and this is all new construction. So all of these are new units. And let's go to the next slide, please. And just to remind you, from the time you passed the accelerated funding in 2023, we did have good accomplishments. The Riley at Overbrook and Gateway at the Green are under construction. Century Plaza has had a remarkable renovation. And some of that work is, we're still working on ensuring that asset will serve the community for years to come. Very pleased with and you can see the AMIs there and the level of investment. So that was last year. And then next slide, please. And then we also, launched and closed and began construction on the Riley at Overbrook with Schomburg Douglas Development, Gateway at the Green with Gateway Development over behind Haywood Mall. And again, you can see those AMIs that are being served there. And I'm going to come back to the later on in the presentation. I'm gonna loop back to some of these units that are at these. So if you think about these developments, think about those 20 to 50, the units that are serving households at 20% to 50% AMI, because I'm going to loop back to that later on in the presentation.
Quick question.
Yeah.
When you have the investment number, is that the total investment, or is that the investment that?
That's just our investment. Using your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you go back to the chart, I think it was on there, wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't. Okay, I have it on another chart. Yeah.
Okay. Show that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, the leverage we're achieving on this investment's remarkable. Yeah. So I think the other reason to be here today is we're very excited that working with the 9% low-income housing tax credit program, we were very strategic in 2024 about the applications we pursued, working with our partners. We knew we could only get 2 new construction and we wanted them. And I'm happy to say that Southern Side was the highest scoring in its category, and the Alliance was the 3rd highest scoring. And the final scores have come out, so we know we have the score we have. We know we're gonna be funded. We are moving on the southern side in terms of, we're filing permits, we are moving to close on that, even though we have yet to hear or receive our tax credit letter from SC Housing. We know we're getting it, so we're gonna just move, so when we do get it, we're ready. And it's coming, but it's probably gonna be another several weeks, as I understand it.
And we encourage you to keep anything you can do in the meantime.
Oh, no, we are. No, we are. So here's a good thing. So we got financing lined up. We've got Huntington National Bank has come to the table in a very strong way on the southern side. And that's 93 units of senior housing. You can see the total project cost, our investment. The Alliance is 100 units in Nicholtown, Lawrence and Ackley. Again, great affordability. And this is a remarkable achievement in terms of the 9% program, which will not be repeated because, as some of you know, SC Housing has changed the rules moving forward in 2025, where no county can get more than one new construction award per year.
And fewer units,
And fewer units.
So, I mean, to me, the takeaway is the city of Greenville earned the maximum number of LIHTC projects, 9% LIHTC projects, that the entire county could earn for 2 consecutive years. The max the county could get would be 2. We got Gateway and Riley last year. We just have learned we've earned Southern Side and the Alliance this year. That's a max of 100 units per
Yeah.
project, so 200 per year. And, you can't do better than that in the
Can't do better.
LIHTC program.
Can't do better.
You cannot do better than the city of Greenville has done in terms of the 9% tax credit program by the state.
That's not the county, well, that's the city.
That's the city.
Right. And these are projects in the city. Yeah, that's true. Next slide, please.
Another question.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I thought LIHTC was capped at 60%.
The program and the Treasury Department implemented an approach called income averaging. And so if you think about it, if 60% is your target.
Yeah.
And you have an equal number at 40, an equal number at 80, you're still targeting 60, you're still averaging 60. And we're adopting that because it's great for families and households we're trying to serve. Gives the projects a little more elasticity, gives people a little bit more room to go up and down on their income and still access and secure high quality housing. And so 40 to 80 is allowed. Well, it's really, you can go up to 80 in income averaging, but for every time you go up, you obviously have to go down.
So Brian is by going to 80.
It allows us to touch on 40,
And then
and the use of vouchers is really what allows us to go even deeper than that. So, in these high quality, can you hit that again, please? Oh, hit it again. And these are just, I just want to remind people what these projects look like. So this is again, Southern Side East and the Alliance. And, we're talking about high design, apartment living here. These are apartment homes that are in great locations that have a great aesthetic, good amenities, proximate to amenities that the city has made a lot of investment in. And we're very pleased that our families are going to have access to these amenities, whether it be the Swamp Rabbit Trail, Unity Park, restaurants, grocery store, shops, all the rest of it.
Really, the Alliance to me also serves as a catalytic project for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cumulatively, I just wanted to take a moment to describe, because we track this. So the resources we've been entrusted with, we've deployed a little bit more than $1.5 million on securing additional land. And we've deployed just over 24.5 million on actual housing investments. And our total home preserved and produced to date is 1,865. And in a few short years, again, I just think it's a remarkable accomplishment, and I would put our record up against anyone in America's. So
Very cool.
Just wanted to remind everybody of that. Next slide. And this is good. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So this is the city of Greenville. These are the investments we have made across the city. And there are 40 of them. 40 across the city of Greenville, investments in affordable housing by the Greenville Housing Fund. So I wanted to mention that. Keep going, please. And then I want to talk about where are we going from here? So next year, when we can only get one award, our priority project is Southern Side West. And that'll, you know what, that's, I'm sorry about that number. So Southern Side East is 93. Southern Side West is 57. That's a typo. I just caught it. And then, of course, we are working with partners on developing Parkside Unity, which would not involve any federal or state financing support. We are working with the folks doing the Mosaic, and you can see there that they are targeting 70 of those units as affordable, going down to 40%.
Down to.
Yeah, 40% AMI. LIBA has been doing an extraordinary amount of work on launching the Greenville Community Home Trust. So that's a land trust model. You'll hear a little bit more in a second, but using our land bank tool and approach and doing single family home and affordable home ownership efforts with that. And you'll hear more about that in a second. And then we have two other projects outside the city. You know, these are things we are working on. We've got one in Piedmont, a 4% bond program that we're applying for, 180 units. And then we have partnered with the Greer Housing Authority because Greer has their own. And we are preserving 120 deeply affordable homes in Greer.
So the home trust, what are you trying to raise money for that or?
The Home Trust, well, we're always trying to raise money.
No. Talk about maybe formalizing that process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get much.
I'll talk more about that in a second. Keep going, please. But I also wanted to remind us about Unity Park and the parcels around Unity Park, because I think even though we've been busy securing the tax credit resources that I just described, at the same time, we have been working with other partners on other parcels around Unity Park. So, you know, we've got Southern Side East and Southern Side West, which is sites 3 and 6. Site 4, we call Townhomes at Trescott. We are working with NHE and the Jordan Development Company on that parcel. Site 1, we have partnered with Homes of Hope and Jeff Randolph to do villas at Southern Side, and that will be an affordable home ownership. It'll be a townhome purchase opportunity. And then, of course, sites 5 and 7 are Parkside Unity, and we are working on making that kind of a marquee signature development adjacent to Unity Park. And so I just wanted people to know that we have the townhomes and the villas are under design and under financing. So we can get those penciled out and are financially feasible, which is often a big scope of our work, is to do these things in a way that is financially feasible. And that work is ongoing. But we have made some progress. Can you advance that, please? Keep going. So I just wanted to also remind people we've moved on to Southern Side West, which that application will go in February, and go through the next couple. This is just what it's going to look like, just to remind people it's fully entitled. It's been through it's shovel ready, other than the financing. And that's what that's what we'll be securing in the early part of 2025. Keep going.
But it's contingent on earning that award.
It is. Oh, but the good news is, and it was on a previous slide and I skipped over it. The current score is 106, which is higher than Southern Side East remarkably. So we have reasonable confidence in our ability to get that financed. And then this is the villas at Southern Side. So working with Homes of Hope, 11 townhomes, again, for sale. And looking forward to delivering that project soon. And keep going. And then again, just another kind of a rendering, if you will, inspiration rendering. And then some tentative, because some of these sites are constrained and the way the room we have is tricky. And so figuring out creative ways to deliver on these sites it just takes a lot of time to pencil these out. Keep going. I also wanted to extend some thank yous to the city of Greenville and our partners at United Way. There have been a couple of federal grant opportunities that we have not pursued as a community in the past. And since I've been in Greenville, I've been frustrated by leaving money on the table. And we had two to choose from. And the one we decided not to pursue, there was more time to put that grant application together. But my magician skills only go so far. And I didn't think we would be successful working with the partners we had on that particular grant opportunity. And this one came up, it had a shorter window. It was a Herculean effort, but knowing that we were partnering with the city of Greenville and United Way, I knew we could do it. And I knew we could put together a proposal that we'd be very proud of, win or lose. But we're very proud of the application we submitted. And I think we have a reasonable expectation for success. And so I just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to, as part of this, I can't make up what the federal government puts in front of us, but having a public hearing for a grant application was new for me. Having public comments as part of a grant application was new for me. And I want to thank Councilors Dow and Fleming for making positive comments on our grant application and taking the time to do that because it matters. It makes a difference. We needed it and you did it. So thank you.
We also had a comment from Representative Dillard and a letter from Senator Scott's office.
I'm timekeeper over here. Y'all know how this.
Well, those things,
I knew it was good.
that was a lot of lifting in the last minute.
Yeah. But this is just a little summary of what this grant would allow us to do. Some of those projects you mentioned would be supported by this grant and would add to our ability to be successful on the financing. We want to update our community-wide strategy. We want to support ongoing rehabilitation preservation opportunities at specific assets in the community. We would like to use some of this money to support the efforts of our home trust. So to Knox's point, we are always raising money. This is an example of how we're trying to secure additional resources. And then support technical assistance, education, and training, sort of writ large around affordable housing and what tools do we need and how do we need to do it. So 2024, 25, going into 25 priorities, we're going to continue the work we're doing at Unity Park. We always want to preserve capacity to respond to other affordable housing opportunities that come up, and they do come up, and we have responded to them. I am very proud to announce that we are finalizing our affiliation agreement with NeighborWorks America. We will be the second entity in the state of South Carolina to have that affiliation. And that comes with other types of federal supports, capacity building opportunities, resources, et cetera. Very excited about that. We want to engage, improve access to, and the impact of SC housing, affordable housing programs, because like it or not, we will only be more successful the more utility these programs have in this community. And we're going to continue to work on that. We want to increase public and private investment resources, and we want to support our Affordable Housing Coalition and partners for collective impact. These numbers that I have shared with you only apply to development that GHF has specifically invested in. I would say there's 1,000 more units represented beyond that number through our partners, and other affordable housing has been delivered across Greenville and Greenville County. And, you know, towards our goal in our strategic plan. Next slide. And I also just want to say a few words about another important priority for Greenville Housing Fund, and I believe for the community. Megan Bark was here talking about the homelessness task force. Terrell and I are co-chairing the permanent supportive housing work group of that task force initiative. And I would like to set a goal in this community to deliver a certain number of permanent supportive housing units to meet the needs that we have. The reason this is really important to the work of this homelessness task force is, and I think you heard Megan say this when she was here, we don't have a shelter, like a homeless shelter challenge. We have a housing deficit challenge. And the sooner and quicker we can deliver service enriched housing to support the needs of chronically homeless folks with disabilities, the better our system will have flow and function in a healthy and proper way. So we actually have places to serve folks that are on the street. Folks on the street right now can't get into shelter because shelters are full and they don't have a place to go. And this is the solution to that. And I need your help finding and securing the resources we need in this community to make this a reality.
When you say on this slide, it costs 22 million, what is that? I mean, is that over a specific time frame?
Yeah, that would just be to deliver. If we picked 60 units, it would be closer to 12. If we picked 90, it'd be closer to 22. And, you know, I mean,
Is that all in the city?
I mean, it could be in the city, but I mean, that's the, so one of the big questions is where are we putting these assets?
Okay.
And how are we best serving
I
the
was
community with this?
Ken, I was talking about kind of funding mechanisms. Is
Yeah.
it just the
Yeah.
city? Is it city and county?
Absolutely.
So.
No, it should be city and county in my view. Next slide. I'm almost done.
But he's not defining the PSH as has to be located
No, it's not
What's
limited.
The what?
But that's for you.
in the city, like,
Yeah.
like Church Street Place, Reedy Place, county.
Yeah.
Not far from the city.
And finally, I just want to take a moment to say that, you know, we've done a lot of multifamily at the Greenville Housing Fund. That is true. We're happy to have done that because it's delivering a lot of units to meet the need that we have in the community. But another equally important strategy that we are launching is this neighborhood strategy. It's all about the community home trust. It is about looking at special emphasis neighborhoods, about infill home ownership opportunities, supporting partners that are already in these neighborhoods in a more robust way so they can deliver on the promise of affordable home ownership across our community. Next slide. And to do that, we are adding capacity at the Greenville Housing Fund all the time. We've added a couple staff positions this year. We are going to be adding another staff position or two next year. Keep going. And that's it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, any question?
Yes.
Oh,
Now,
my
Donna,
God.
question.
As he was going.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. It'll be in your team this evening. Okay, Carol, come on.
You have to end that.
Carol?
You have to end that section.
No.
So go to that presentation and see.
And she has jumped in and
In the
has
slideshow.
really seems to love Greenville. We're so glad that she's part of our community. So
Tell
welcome.
her to breathe, we're not gonna really hurt it.
No, this is informal. We're good. All right, Terrell.
Thank you.
So,
And so-
sure.
So like Brian, I do want to thank the city especially. I don't know how many of you know, but our city, we were wiped out. The housing authority had no power, no anything. And of course, we had people whose homes were being destroyed. We couldn't just close down. And the city manager graciously allowed us to operate from your 8th floor. So that was a difference between people having access and being able to come and say, a tree is in my house, or coming to a closed door. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so
Thank you,
much. The Greenville Housing Authority, by the numbers, we just had our audit, total revenues of 32 million. Our net position is about 36 million. I don't think a lot of people realize how big of an impact, a fiscal impact, in addition to a mission impact the housing authority has in the community. Next. We have 58 full-time employees and some part-timers and annual payroll of about $5 million. So again, you know, most of that money is spent right here in the city. We no longer administer a public housing program. So people that have been here for a long time remember the old names and the old properties, and they're long gone. We don't own them anymore. We have varying positions in the ownership structure. And the total development cost of those projects was about $121 million. And that was through the rental assistance demonstration program. Some of it was new construction, some of it was significant rehabilitation, but there is no public housing in Greenville any longer. Hasn't been for a while. We go back one more time. So we do, the Housing Authority fully owns 48 units at Arcadia Hills and then 109 scattered site units, but all of the rest of them are owned by owners and investors, just like private market, which is a really big shift for the thinking of what affordable housing is. Because
What was the last one?
I want to say it was where we have the preserve now. And it was called Scott Towers.
But what you're saying is, like, the preserve is owned by private.
Yes, everything
Entity.
is owned by owners and investors except for Arcadia Hills and the 109 scattered site units. So
But you administer the management and rent.
the housing authority is the manager of, we have we're serving as property managers. The biggest program aside from the project-based vouchers is part of the Housing Choice Voucher Program that used to be called Section 8. We administer more than 3,200 vouchers. And then there's a little breakdown. So project-based vouchers, which is what Brian was talking about, supports developers when they're applying for tax credit money. Is project-based vouchers is often what closes the fiscal gap and allows service of the 20 to 30% of area median income. 959 of the 3,200 are project-based vouchers. There's a Housing Choice Voucher homeownership program, which hasn't really been utilized as fully as it should be, and we're going to be working on getting more initiatives around that. So the same vouchers that are used to pay rent can be used for a mortgage. So we think that's important in this community. We have a foster youth initiative voucher that is targeted to youth aging out of foster care. We're currently using 10 vouchers there, and we're eligible for up to 25. The referrals have to come from Department of Social Services, but again, with a little coordination, that should help relieve some stress on shelters. We have emergency housing vouchers, which go back to COVID, and there are 54 of those. VASH is a veterans voucher, which receives a referral from the VA in order to utilize, and there are 207 of those. 30 of those are at the preserve. And 5, by the way, I think is going to Church Street. Mainstream is for non-elderly disabled households, and we have 26 of those. So that's kind of our little portfolio of the vouchers. We work with about 900 landlords that get a check once a month for those 3,200 vouchers. In 2023, we paid $25 million to private landlords. And then as part of our Move to Work initiative, we're offering damage payments, vacancy payments, and signing bonuses to encourage more landlords to participate in the program. Coming soon, we hope by the end of the year, South Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is entering into a contract with us for a special voucher, and it's targeted to persons who have been in hospitals or nursing homes for 60 days or more, and we've contacted Prisma and they're willing partners. So again, that should take some of the stress of what, people, especially people with serious medical issues, having to go into nursing homes. So there's like $7 million available in that program. The only other housing authority in the state administering it currently is Columbia Housing Authority, or the State Housing Authority in Columbia. So we'll be the second in the state and hopefully we'll be able, we've asked for 25 vouchers initially. Nobody's really sure what the number looks like, but the state has agreed to start us with 25. So this is a report of voucher utilization, which the mayor is smiling about. And I have a little detail if anyone wants to see. So there's good news here and there's not so good news. In 2022, there were 2,844 vouchers under lease or used. Our baseline was 3,291. So you can clearly see that we were underutilized, underserving the community, not really using the money that we needed to. In October of 2024, we're at 3,208 units, spending considerably more money. In fact, for the last 4 months, it's called front loading, like getting extra money from HUD, because although we're not at 3,291, the cost of housing or the market rents are such that we're using more money than we actually receive. So we don't have room to add more vouchers. What's not good there is that means that all the developers that want project-based vouchers, they're not there. We don't have vouchers to give. So we have to look for another way to support affordable housing development. And there's in another slide in this. But any questions there?
For a long time, we heard we couldn't find developers or landlords to take the vouchers.
So there were a lot of reasons, and I think we've worked hard to make improvements, to be a lot more transparent, to be a lot more available. We've changed a lot of things, and I think the landlords are not as comfortable as I'd like to see them. In fact, this month I'm starting landlord office hours on October 16th, so that once a month, landlords can just call in and say whatever they want to say, and I can hear a little bit more about what things they might still have concerns or suggestions they might have. So the program only works if we have landlords. Yep.
That's a great improvement.
Good here.
Thank you. So this is the only other most exciting thing that's happened to me that excites me more than this is the water pad at Evergreen. Like, hopefully, I spent like months kind of getting that water up and getting those kids playing in water, which doesn't impact the whole city, but I'll never forget it. More exciting than that is this thing called Faircloth. And Faircloth basically allows housing authorities to leverage it's called existing Faircloth authority. So the total number of subsidy amounts available to the community is set by Congress at some point. And then over time, things happen in the community, like over a long period of time, like Hope 6 happens, and maybe there were 300 units, we only built 200 back. So then the 100 goes into this bank called Faircloth. And we're at a place now where our Faircloth allowance is 890 units. So they've been there all along, just kind of sitting there. And the reason was there's a cap on, it's called RAD rents. And to give you an example, like a 3-bedroom was $772. So nobody could, you can't do anything with that. It's just sitting there. Recently, Congress made some changes that allows a rent boost, which could allow us to get those 890 rents up to 140% of AMI. So we're working and we'll be looking for partners and lands and financing to be able to bring those 890 units online. And of course, they come online as public housing, so they serve the very low income, which is a gap. They can be a part of a mixed income community, which is probably the more desirable way to do it. And I've been in touch with the State Housing Authority to kind of wrap their head around how to use this in place of project-based vouchers. So they said they're willing to entertain a conversation, and we just have to kind of keep massaging that.
You put that in terms of funding you receive, I didn't quite follow it.
So what happens is when the housing authority would send a request to HUD and say that we want to use the whatever number of Faircloth, and once it's approved, and from what I'm understanding, it's not, it's HUD, so right, it's going to be a long process. But so it's a 20-year contract, just like the project-based voucher. So once we get through the first year, it's called boosting the rents through use of reserves or, you know, wherever the money comes from. And we established that first year, then HUD pays the full subsidy for the next 20 years. So it's like a project-based voucher.
Minutes.
Okay, next. Next thing is our Moving to Work initiative, and our definition of self-sufficiency is independence, autonomy, self-reliance, freedom, self-dependence, self-support, self-sustenance, and resilience. So the MTW model is mandatory for all participants who are not elderly, disabled, or otherwise exempt. Next. So the Move to Work program will permit current and future participants to select a period of time from 4 to 10 years that they will receive rental assistance, and the decision is based on the family's commitment to improving their income through increased education and employment. We have partners who are willing to work with us on this. It's a sea change. Instead of, you know, I'm waiting to get on housing, and that's like the plan forever, unless I'm elderly or disabled. The plan is that I'm willing to commit, you know, this much to furthering my education or getting a certification or getting a better job. And all the way up through home ownership. Can you click, please? So there are incentives built in. We have 4 success paths. One is the 4-year person that really just wants a little help for a little while, and they have a plan for after. And they'll be getting coaching activities, financial education. Success path 2 is education. The family gets to stay up to 6 years because they've committed to some degree or some type of training or certification. Success path 3 is financial stability. They've gotten a first job or are working on a first job or retaining a job and starting to do things like improvements of credit scores and so forth, including entrepreneurship. They like opened a legitimate business, like a business license and permits and so forth. And then success path 4 is the family that's saying, you know, what I really want is, you know, I'm from here, I'm gonna be here, I wanna buy a home. And so they would be able to get rental assistance for 10 years. So what this would do is change the belief about what the role of the housing authority is in the community, provide supports for people to utilize the authority to kind of move through a better life path for themselves. But what it will do further is kind of open up a pipeline for new people to enter and kind of make that same path through self-sufficiency and kind of take away some of the stresses that we have now. When we open a wait list in like 2 days, we have 5,000 applications, and you know, we only can ever help, you know, 25 more people.
To be in this program? But you said, or for vouchers?
For vouchers.
Okay, sorry.
For vouchers.
You have the staffing to manage a program like this?
We have currently an FSS grant that's $241,000, and it is it pays for 3 staff. We'll be shifting the responsibilities of some of the staff that's in Housing Choice Voucher now, and then a lot of partner reliance, honestly.
1 minute, let's let Terrell finish and then we'll go.
I'm done.
Okay, all right, good job, Terrell.
Okay.
Okay, we have 3 minutes for questions. That's fine. Okay, Councilmember Dow.
When you open it up for applications, what you were just talking about, does the system favor or prioritize people who already are here in the county versus someone from another state coming to get a voucher here?
So we have a local preference, but the local preference is that you're working, you're living or working legally. But the thing is, all of the money is federal,
Right.
right? So, and what we do is people have to live here for a year before they can take the voucher and go someplace else. Because once you get a voucher, you can go anywhere in the country.
Okay.
So we mandate that people have, once they get in, they have to live here for a year before they can take the money and go.
But a person who is here already that
Yeah.
gets a voucher is in no advantage over someone who may be in another state that sees it open up and applies for the same voucher
There's a preference that if you're living or working in
already.
the jurisdiction, you have a preference over someone who
Okay.
applies from Ohio.
Okay,
So, no, they're not. So we had a lot of people porting into the jurisdiction, it's like lead stuff. So we had people porting out and now we're billing housing authorities for people that are going to other places, where before we were letting them go out and we were paying the rent when they got there. Now we're billing if they're going or if they're coming in from somewhere else.
It was a good
That's
presentation.
great.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Carol.
Will
Thank
we
you very
get
much. Yes.
We need.
Ryan, for the
Yes.
update.
All right.
I wondered which would come first. Would the Unity Park housing come first, or would Russell Stall cut his hair first? I mean, I think every one of them, it's all happening. So how about that?
All right. Well, with that, Mr. Mayor,
Then,
to our next item, which is the abandoned building and the textile mill certifications. So Sam, who is our president and CEO of NCEDC, is now here at the table. So Sam, we've got a couple presentations and 20 minutes to do them, but I know you can do it.
Well, he may be under stress because he's been written about it.
Helps things Sam's gonna try to do today,
That's right.
but I think you can do it.
You can do it.
Well, I'm gonna stay pretty scripted until we get to questions in order to achieve that objective. So, all right. Got a lot to go through, so we'll start with application for abandoned building certification for 250 North Church Street, better known as the Gateway Project, which would rise on the remnants of the former Greenville Memorial Auditorium site. Following formal review of the formally submitted application by our attorney, Michael Kozlerick, expert attorney for abandoned buildings and textile mill applications, he has documented his formal opinion for us that the Gateway site fully qualifies for abandoned building certification according to SC Code 1267-140 and is ready for council consideration for approval. You can rest on that previous one for a moment, Leslie. Thank you. So concise background is this, for the record. The site has sat as an abandoned building or structure for over 26 years when the 200,000 square foot Memorial Auditorium was imploded and vacated the site in 1997. Approximately 50,000 square feet of the former highly used basement facility and fallout shelter remains in place, with confirmation of the space being used for everything from Furman basketball locker rooms to the staging area for contestants of the Miss South Carolina pageant to a major fallout shelter for the city without elevator access. So far more than structural or foundational. Multiple developments have been proposed unsuccessfully on this site, but not built due to the complexities of the site and market conditions. The site has deteriorated dramatically and has some vagrancy activities. Proclaimed by the city of Greenville as the gateway to Greenville due to its pivotal location as the most visible entry into downtown Greenville via the 385 freeway, the prominent site is an integral piece in continuing to enhance the city of Greenville. And based on the above, the site clearly falls within the spirit of the statute, and incentives provided by the Abandoned Building Revitalization Act are considered a vital and crucial factor of the proposed development by NR Gateway Greenville LLC. Go to the next, please, Leslie. So the economic impact summarized. The proposed leading edge mixed use development will create the tallest building in the state of South Carolina for what it's worth, and will include residential, office, retail, civic, entertainment, parking structure, other components with a diverse portfolio of public improvements. The fair market value of the current site is estimated to be 6.1 million, with current taxable value of the property being 5.9 million. Total investment is expected to likely top 130 million and will create approximately 1,500 jobs. Qualified expenditures top 21 million. The projected start date for the project is December 2024. Project completion date is estimated to be March 2027. You can go on to the next, please. So bottom line, fiscal impact, seeking income tax credits only, which is vital. So no bottom line impact to the city. Application formally submitted, fully qualified. Sworn affidavits are not required, but we are seeking them because they are available. Staff recommendation is approval by council via formal resolution at the October 28th public meeting. And Mr. Kozlerick is out of the state today, but I am here to address any questions you might have.
Good job, Sam.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Just to kind of point it, this is they get a credit, it's not it's proportional to what they really claim, that just with the walls and that kind of thing, it's not an.
Yeah, it's very, very formulaic, very set. It's, so since the actual footprint is 50,000 square feet, you can have 2 times that square footage. There's maximum amounts of 2.8 million, not to exceed 700,000 per unit. So you literally, for structured parking, for retail, for the residential spaces, can have several credits. But based on 130 million, the ROI, the maximum level would be probably around 3 million that could be monetized, but it is meaningful.
Still mean.
Right.
And it certainly is in the spirit of the legislation, this type of project.
Questions from council on this one for Sam?
I hope this one goes through. How many of these have I seen?
Mhm.
I'm saying this one piece of land has been a detriment to the city of Greenville because it's just.
The plywood walls have
Yeah.
fallen down with the storm, so we can really see it again.
Well, it's like the Lawrence Road thing, just to overuse the Cadillac project with that. Okay.
Storms.
Thank you, Sam.
Yes.
Okay, next item, please.
Village of West Greenville. Okay, Attorney Richard Few is in the house today in case there are at the conclusion of this any questions as he represents the client. So the next certification to be presented is for 13 adjacent parcels of land located at 1279 Pendleton Street within the Village of West Greenville, best known as the Woven Plan Development. With the applicant Woodfield Development, Brian Schick, president, seeking certification of the site as an abandoned textile mill site. Following formal review of the submitted application and notarized affidavit by the city of Greenville's expert attorney, Mr. Kozlerick, has documented his formal opinion that the site fully qualifies for abandoned textile building certification and is ready for city council consideration for approval. Go to the next one. Concise background. In the 1950s, Abney Mill began selling lots and textile mill houses that were within their former Brandon Mill textile area. In 1977, the textile mill permanently ceased operations. The former textile mill and ancillary textile mill buildings, including water tower, office, etc., were sold to individual utilities and individuals. After serving as a warehouse for many years, the former mill was redeveloped into residential apartments that you can see the old and the new in 2016 that operate today as the West Village Lofts at Brandon Mill. On May 18th, 2023, the final development plan was approved by the Planning Commission of Greenville based on the Woven Plan development, which was approved earlier in the year, January 2023, by our council. This really, I'll just stand up to say this more than anything, is to show you the 13 parcels are right here. And you see the proximity to the Brandon Mill, just to kind of get scale and geography. Okay, go to the next. Thank you. So economic impact summarized. Current fair market value of the properties noted above is $4,137,000. The proposed new developments to be undertaken on the site will result in a capital investment projected to approximate $90 million, creating 120 construction jobs and 6 full-time on-site leasing jobs. Qualified expenditures are estimated to be approximately $85 million. Projected start date for the new development is December 2024. Projected completion date is March 2027. And you can go on to the next one. You can see, sorry, if you will back up. Project overview, just more detail included. So 214 multifamily units and 20% of those are affordable housing at 80%, 60%, 40% AMI, commercial retail space, public parking, etc. Thank you. And you can, right. So staff recommendation is seeking approval via resolution again at the city council public meeting on October 28th. No fiscal impact based on them seeking state income tax credits only. Again, all things are in place. Certification letter from Appalachian Council of Governments that this is an economically distressed area, sworn affidavits from the applicant, and deemed as fully qualified by city's expert council. So questions and comments?
This one also will be on your agenda at the next meeting for formal consideration. Okay. All right, very good. Sam, no questions. That sounds
First time
good.
I've heard about this, it's in my district, so. Just now here, I mean, has anything been going on? Cause it's surprising to me to see a sworn affidavit from the president of the West
Village.
Village. Oh, the West Greenville Village, okay.
Yeah, not,
I
Right,
got
not
it.
West
Yes,
Greenville,
yes,
right.
I-
Right,
I was concerned. I had to listen to the rest of the words. Oh, wait a minute.
right.
Hmm.
And Mr. Few is here if you need any additional.
Oh, no.
It's from the LLC,
Yes.
not from the
Not from
neighborhood.
that.
Right,
Yes.
right.
No problem.
Okay, questions on this one? Okay, all right. Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thanks.
You got some more in the pipeline you're gonna be bringing to us? I mean,
Yes,
good enough. All right.
definitely.
Okay. All right.
I would just suggest to the manager, this next topic should be such a good presentation, I'm sure, from Dave, that I think this would be a better formal council meeting. We have other folks there to hear.
Would y'all like to hear
Staff
the
there.
free hauling update as part of
Yeah.
our staff reports at the formal meeting?
You know, I think up front, I'd love to. Everything up front. If you got pictures, Dave,
If you mind sticking around for the.
have you got pictures?
Well, the only way we can,
You got
we have
pictures?
to do it under staff.
We're very visual.
If that's the will of council, we will move it to the formal agenda. And with that, then, Mr. Mayor, we're ready to move into executive session.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Everybody will go ahead and put it on out.
We'll have several items to discuss this afternoon under 3478(1) and 2. Legal advice regarding consent to have property through MC Avenue. Schedule a prospective contract for public-private partnership with states. Legal advice about Pennsylvania state federal tax credits. Legal advice regarding early termination of contract with the city service provider. Boards and commissions, and matters covered by attorney-client privilege regarding the zoning. Will so the table.
All in favor, say aye.